What's up, Ramblers? Your favorite CEO is back. And before we begin today's podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode. And follow Assistance HQ and Offsource HQ across all platforms to stay up to date on the latest content, updates, and more. And remember, if you need a virtual assistant, visit us at offsource.tech. Now, before we begin, a word from our sponsor. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another wonderful episode of The Ramblings, and welcome to 2022. It is my first official podcast as a solo host in a very long time. You guys can't see, but I am in a new office. I've been in a new office for a little bit of time. A couple of the episodes you've heard prior to this were me in the new office. But in terms of like the video content, everything that's coming on, I am extremely excited for what the new year is bringing, right? And there's just like a lot of things that have gone on. I have been out of my shell, or in my shell, if you will. Yeah, I've been in my shell, and I'm now just kind of coming out of my shell like a lot more. And it's because I really have to stop caring like what other people think, and I have to really let the market decide. And when I was letting the market decide, I was having a much better result, but just putting out content that I liked. And so now that you guys see that I've been inconsistent with the podcast, and now I have to get back into doing it daily. So I'm recording this at 6:25 p.m. on Monday, January 3rd. And so I'm going to drop the episode today. So I'm just going to put it at 6:25. I know that there's a lot of people like, oh, I really should have dropped it this morning, but I'm probably gonna talk long enough to make two podcast episodes out of this. I think I did another podcast episode the other day. I have been doing a lot. I was thinking about doing a recap, but I feel like if you guys have been following me, you guys get it. Very quickly, you guys know that I lost my co-founder in 2021. You know that we ran and got a lot of things done. We now have helped with over 40 small business owners. We are in a much better position than we were this time last year. So growth. We've officially marked 2 years in business. I'm in the process of going through hiring a team right now, and things are pretty good. If I could say, like, I am very much enjoying myself. And that's what I mean by enjoying like your process and everything, right? Because a lot of times people are not enjoying their process. And when you're not enjoying your process, it just makes the journey that much longer, that much harder. And so one of the things I'm really trying to do is surround myself with other positive people and like curate a circle of entrepreneurs, right? So one of the big things that I'm gonna be doing like this year is really contextualizing my content. So I've officially decided that the Ramblings is Angelo's podcast. Like, I have a podcast. I started it for business to generate like and have leverage and everything, but it's not the content. I've been informed that the content that I'm putting out is not like, it could be better, right? Like, it's nothing wrong with the content that I have, but in regards to the audience and what I am trying to do, it could be better. So I am going to be dropping two new podcasts this year specifically for like creating content. And I think one of them is probably just going to end up being like a YouTube channel. But what's going to happen is I have a podcast called The DIY Founder coming. I don't know if it's just going to be like a YouTube channel or like a podcast, but it's going to basically be a channel or a platform dedicated to helping first time and solo founders with just managing and being small, right? How can we have the most efficient process? How can we do this cheaply? How can we do this affordably? Where can we get the best help? Doing all like, how can you do your own marketing? How can you create your own copy? How can you get better at copy? And so we'll be featuring stories of people that got better at copy, freelancers that can tell you and give you tips and ideas on how to get better at writing their copy. It's going to be once a week, and we just have like a lot of things coming for that. I want to be able to bring value, right? So I think the best way to bring value is to recap what I learned in 2021 in business. You guys can't see, but I have like this weird red dot on my head. And I think it's a pimple, and I'm going to want to get it, but I can't get it right now because on camera, it just looks so crazy. But so to recap 2021, right? 2021 was a very formidable opponent, if I was to put it like that, right? 2021 really did a lot of different things for a lot of different people, right? For us, it marked our first full year in business as like a corporation. So we had incorporated in like August of 2020, even though we had officially launched Offsource in like January 2020. We didn't incorporate till like 6-7 months later. So that made 2021 our official first year as like an incorporated business, meaning we have to do a bunch of tax things and all these other kind of things coming up. But a lot of things I learned. So I guess if I were to take like the order of events and purpose, like the order of events in sequence, I think that's the best way to describe it. Yeah, if I take the order of events in the way that they happened in sequence, at the very beginning of the year, we were in the process of like a relaunch slash rebrand slash like just overhaul of the company, right? So me and Ben we had just finished like closing the round essentially. We were in the heat of getting things done, and there was like a lot of arguing, right? And so it just didn't go how I wanted. And I tried the best I could to navigate that particular relationship. Not everything works out, and sometimes it is best to split. But that, I think, was that era that era leading up to his quitting was a very struggling kind of period, like mentally for me, in terms of how I'm going to be doing the business, because I was dealing with you know the emotions of, okay, I have to be a business owner, I have to make sure that the ship keeps running, and I'm also like 22, 23 years old. I want to be petty too. Like, hey, listen, like trying to get my point across and just not always going about it the best way. So during like, I'd say January, February, March, I was doing things pretty like solo, because there was a hiatus where he had taken, and I was doing things solo, and I was like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. And so when I was preparing for him to come back, I really was like, okay, I want to make sure that he's coming back and things are organized and all these kinds of things. And so he didn't come back. He then said, yeah, I'm no longer going to be doing this. So that was like a huge bomb drop. And I was in a meeting with a like employee at the time that I got that text, was screen sharing, forgot that I was screen sharing, read the text while also kind of doing something, and then realized he saw the text and was like, ah, dang, now that's two birds in a stone. So that's how that really went though. But it really was like a dawning on me, like, okay, you're gonna go through trials and tribulations. You prepared for something like this, so it's always good to do your homework. Had I not done my homework, that could have ended a lot worse, and I would have been a whole lot more upset with that situation than what I was. So in the reality of things, like it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, as you will. I have all love for my ex co-founder, absolutely all love. I wish him the best. I think he's working on a different project right now, and I absolutely cannot wait to see it flourish. Right, I have no malicious intent to anyone that we've ever worked with. Right, I love all my people. Like, I love everyone that I've come in contact with so far. Right. It's just that's just how the cards fall. Sometimes things are not how they're supposed to be, and because of timing and circumstances, things just take a lot longer. And so what I would learn from that situation, that I really would like for you guys to know, is like a couple of different points. One, being prepared and doing your homework, oh my god, it can save your life. Like I said, if I had not like previously done some homework about the situations that I was getting into, what I should be expecting, what I should prepare for, and how to properly put those particular pieces of documents and information in place to protect myself and to protect the company, is absolutely priceless at this point. Like that knowledge, that I would say 5 to 10 hours worth of like homework, 5 to 10 hours worth of homework saved me 25, 20%. Saved me a lot of percent of equity in the company, saved me money in payroll, like doing my due diligence in making sure that I did homework. It was not the 30 hours of homework that, some of your favorite people are recommending, but I always recommend doing the homework, right? I just move on a shorter timetable because I like to jump in. So I only did 5 to 10 hours of homework. And that 5 to 10 hours of homework saved me millions of dollars. And I haven't even made my first million yet. Saved me thousands of dollars. And I don't even and I would not have been able to, handle that kind of thing. Like at that time, maybe I probably would have been able to say, yeah, we can do that. But it's the fact that it saved me that money, saved me that headache. It saved me that argument. It saved me that nasty conversation. And so doing your due diligence is going to be something that's extremely important in business going forward, starting now, wherever you are, your due diligence matters. And I only can think to myself, like, if I had done the full 20, 30 hours of research, how much more would I have saved? What would I have done differently? Would I have made a different decision that would have led to something else? And who knows where I would be right now? So I never regret what I've done, right? I'm not living with regrets because I'm extremely happy for where I am now. When you have an appreciation for where you are now, it makes it so much easier to live without regrets because you don't regret that XYZ didn't happen because you're so grateful that ABC did happen. Like you're so grateful that your parents were able to see your success, that the failures that you had along the way don't necessarily matter. So it's really just like doing your due diligence, doing your homework, and understanding that the chips fall where they fall. You just have to be prepared. You're not going to be able to control every situation. Every situation is not going to be in your best favor. But we all recognize when we have high times, when we have times of abundance, when we have times of prosperity. But what you do in those times of prosperity, what you do during those times of lull and famine will determine. I said lull and famine. What you do when there's abundance and prosperity will determine what happens to you when there is a lull, when there is no longer an abundance, when there is a lacking, when there is a famine, right? There's a Bible principle that talks about like keeping in trust. And now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm absolutely going to butcher it. So I'm not even going to move into it. But there's a story that my dad would tell me when I was younger about the ant and the grasshopper. And I think that's what I really wanted to get into. I didn't even think I wanted to talk about the Bible. But the ant and the grasshopper, right? And so what happened is the story takes place in the summer, at the beginning of the summer. And so the ant is spending her summer working. She's gathering food for storage. She's making sure she has a warm place to stay. Then the grasshopper, he's playing. He's saying, why are you wasting away these good days? It is a great time. Why waste it? The ant says to the grasshopper, I'm not wasting it. I'm preparing for it. We're not always going to have these nice summer days. And so then, the grasshopper goes, that's frivolous. And then goes on his way. Story fast forwards into the winter. And there's two versions of this, right? So when you're a kid, you hear the version that, the grasshopper realized he was wrong. He goes to the ant's house and he says, hey, listen, I realized I was messing up. I played all summer, and now winter is coming. I don't have any food. I don't have anywhere to like lay my head and everything. I'm cold. Can you help me? And the ant says, I did what I was supposed to do during the summer. And so I can take care of not only me and my household, because in the story she has kids, but I can allow you to come in here and you can stay with me and I can assist you too. But as you get older, you realize that Disney has Disneyfied a lot of the stories. So for example, I don't know if you know this, but in the original Pinocchio story, he dies a donkey. He dies a donkey. He doesn't learn his lesson. He doesn't turn back. That's it. Disney says we need happy endings. So in the original Ant and the Grasshopper story, the grasshopper goes to the ant and says, hey, look, I need some help. I see that you have an abundance of stuff. The ant says, you played around all summer and forsaked the winter. No, you cannot have any of my stuff, and closes the door in his face. The grasshopper dies, freezes to death. That's how the original story goes, right? So when we have an abundance, what you do during times of abundance, especially in business, will determine what you do in times of need. We see the example with the airline companies. They have had an abundance over the past decades, 2 decades. I don't think they've really had a hit in travel except for the small '08, which we kept from really breaking the economy by doing a bunch of bailouts. They haven't really felt anything since the 2001 strike, 9/11. So airlines have been in abundance for a very, very long time in terms of the money in their just predictable next year's revenue or growth in next year's revenue. Now we see that just a couple of months after the pandemic had hit, they're out. They're out. Oh my gosh, we need a bail. Oh my gosh, we need money. Oh my gosh, we need to be able to cover all of these things. And the reason that they're able to get it is because they employ so many thousands of people. Like when you employ that many people, and if a company decided to go under, it's not the executives that are hit. They're like, okay, we're gonna cash out what we cash out and then move on. Like it's dang, it sucks it sucks to suck, but we end out, like Adam Newman. They had to pay him $1 billion to leave the company. And after he essentially kind of drove it into the ground, and like now he's considered like, oh my gosh, there was like this whole thing, like maybe Adam was right because of these whole co-working situations, but not owning the actual lease to the place was, at the time, we were like, oh, what is going on? We were like, oh, he's smart, he's genius, and now he's stupid and all these things. And things just play out. But when we look at what actually happened in the company, a lot of the people that were facing burnout, that were facing all of these things, they were the ones who got the brunt end of that stick. And he walked away a billionaire, nothing happened. And it's what you do in the times of abundance that will determine what happens in your times of scarcity. So that's one of the big things I learned in 2021. Fast forward is procrastination kills the dream. And I really think that one's self-explanatory. All 2020 and all 2021, I was talking about like kicking procrastination, and I didn't quite get it. And you can see the effects at the end of the year. And so I really want to make that note. Procrastination will kill your dream, right? If you are not dedicated to what it is that you're trying to do, it has to be something every day. Like, even if it's only 5-10 minutes, if you're not touching on it every single day, you're going to lose touch with it. If you're not touching it every day, you're going to lose touch with it. So you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. And something I learned is consistent doesn't even have to really be like a full every day. Like we said, 5-10 minutes. Are you reading an article? Are you staying in the loop? Consistency has to be at the same time all the time. So if that's once a week, it's once a week, but you have to make it consistent. And so when you procrastinate, the more you procrastinate, the longer it takes and the less likely things are going to happen. Like there's so many things that you're not moving on that by the time you choose to move on it, there's already so many other things that you could have chosen to do that have come your way that it's just almost unending. And so you get overwhelmed and things, it goes a lot harder. So I'm telling you, procrastination, kick it, because it's really going to kill the dream. Procrastination will really kill your dream. I saw it. You have to move diligently, intentionally, and with a purpose when you're in business. It can't be kind of. Nope. When you do things kind of in business, it results in a loss. And here's the weird thing. You're not really competing with other people, especially as a small business owner. You might be obviously competing with other small and local businesses, but in the reality of things, in like the actuality, there's enough business within your city to go around. 1, 2, it's just really, really, really hard to beat consistency. It's just so hard to beat consistency because no one's got, like, you can get lucky, but if you're not consistent, that's all you ever will be, is lucky. What else did I learn in 2021? Um, being prepared for the unexpected. I feel like I touched on that a lot, especially when you've done your due diligence. Being prepared, that's key. But that, just like I said, goes in with the with making sure you understand what to do in abundance, so you know what your options are come scarcity. Because when you're when you have abundance, it's options. When there's scarcity, it's what can you do? What did you what moves did you make in abundance so that you can make moves in scarcity? Um, I learned that a proper strategy is extremely important. 2021 was really key. Like, execution is extremely key, but you also, like, when you realize that your execution doesn't work, it's because the strategy behind it didn't work. And so we always talk about execution. I always talk about execution. It's about the doing. And that is 85. I'll not I'll say that is 68%, 69% of like the entire equation. The other, 31%, 32%, 35% comes from strategy, comes from planning, comes from consistency, comes from the intangibles that are not associated necessarily with the execution of things. It takes a dream and it takes a North Star to get somewhere. Now I'm going to break that up into two things. One, when we're talking about a plan and having a strategy, that North Star is going to be what dictates that strategy and the execution. But having a North Star in general is what will keep you organized and on track. Throughout the year, you're going to go through a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of different things are going to happen. Having a North Star, which is that goal, that one singular goal. So OffSource's North Star is to provide support for small business owners. That is our North Star. Whatever it is that we're doing, it should be geared around bringing support to small business owners. And so when you have a North Star, it makes making decisions, it makes making strategies, it makes making what's important and prioritizing a whole lot easier, because you have a North Star. You have something that, okay, it doesn't matter how we get here, we just have to get here. And so when you focus on having your North Star strategy versus a strategy for every little and single thing, which is needed, but not as important as your North Star strategy. Because if you get hooked up and fixed up on these small things, it's very hard to navigate. It's very hard to differentiate and say, you know what, this is not a good idea. Let's stop this and go somewhere else. Let's stop midway through. Pursue. Let's put our energy elsewhere. It's going to be very hard because you've spent the energy and time to really flesh out that entire, process, thought, and idea, and to want to execute it, and you're now wanting to execute that particular idea, whereas your goal is to execute that North Star. So you're more likely to say, hey, let's stop this and move somewhere else, because this isn't going to help us get to our North Star. We might accomplish something and it might be somewhat successful, but is it towards our North Star? Is it towards our vision of ultimate success? Which is why I say that OffSource's North Star is to become the biggest supporter of small businesses, period. OffSource's goal is to be the biggest supporter of small businesses. We help the little people and the medium people too. But that's one of the other things I learned. How to really identify your niche is something that I'm still kind of learning, but really did learn a lot more in 2022. I mean, 2021. I've really learned like what it means to niche down and how that you can niche down, and then contextualizing that content. So like originally, OffSource's, what I would deem as OffSource's ideal like client is a small Black and brown business owner, usually 0 to 4 employees. And I got very, very, very specific with it, right? But then you have to get even more specific. What industries are they in? What software are they using? When you're creating an ideal client profile, your niche has to get specific. And so I got specific, but I didn't get specific enough. You want to know characteristics. What do they feel? Because when you understand how someone feels, it's easy to make content that motivates them. It's easy to make content that makes them upset. It's easy to make content that's going to be triggering of a particular emotion when you understand your ICP is ideal client profile. when you have that inner understanding and that inner knowledge of who your true customer is, because not everyone is everyone's customer. Do you think Walmart is trying to convince people that shop at Louis Vuitton to shop at Walmart? No, they don't need to. Do you think Louis Vuitton is trying to convince people that shop at Walmart to shop at Louis Vuitton? No, they don't need to. So why are you trying to do that with your business? And I realized that I had to really focus in on that. I would like to focus in on the owners that are hiring, that understand that hiring is a hassle. Maybe I've hired before. They understand building a team is a key to any kind of expansion and success in business, or slowing down. And so the hardest thing I've learned is to try to not do split niches, right? So for example, if your niche is the go-getter, someone that wants to expand their business, the mom and dad that have been in business for 25 years that are slowing down and saying, I don't want to be in business as much, I would like to take time to be with my family, the content's going to be different. Saying, hey, do you love waking up to go make some money tomorrow? Whereas the person that you're talking to loves to wake up and spend time with their grandkids, the content's not going to hit the same. So I really learned how to contextualize my content for the niche and really even just specialize and specify my niche to a greater degree. I realized making work fun matters. That's a tip I learned in 2021. As you guys can't see, but I grabbed my Oculus. I bought an Oculus earlier this year because I like the idea of making work fun. I'm a tech kind of guy, so it's a little bit easier for me, but I like tools and software and all these little cool gadgets and stuff like that. And I will go broke buying like the latest software or piece of tech because I just love I don't code. I haven't done like a full deep dive. I'm just extremely interested, and it's a hobby for me. There we go. It's like playing with tech gadgets is a hobby for me. Tech gadgets and tools. But you have to find a way to make your work fun. And if it's not fun, you got to find a way to make it fun. Like my work, I enjoy doing because I enjoy being an owner. So if it means that I have to go do all these working pieces, by all means, I will go do it. But the work in and of itself occasionally is not fun. Do you think going to reword a paragraph, like going to reword pages on a piece of paper, not fun? But the fact that I'm doing it for myself and I can do it in my Oculus from home, that's fun. Doing a spreadsheet, after you do 3-4 of them in a day, it's like, okay, I'm kind of getting bored of it. I can get bored of just doing these spreadsheets. It's easy. It's simple. I enjoy it because it's something that allows me to relaxingly just work. But it's not the most fun. But listening to music while watching something on the TV in my VR while working, that's fun. So making your work fun, just making it more, and make the parts that of work in your business that are unenjoyable, enjoyable. I think that's going to be my 2021 recap. I can't think of anything else that I would like to really prominently share. A lot has happened. I'm sure I'll probably talk about like the recaps and lessons I've learned and other things, but it feels really good to be back with you guys, and I'm extremely excited. So thank you. I know I got this to you guys like 16 hours later, so 17 hours late. No, yeah, 15 hours, 7 o'clock, 12. Yeah, 15 hours late. I got this to you guys, but better late than never. I'm going to go hit episode 2. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey Ramblers, that's it. Podcast is over. Don't leave yet though. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, and follow us on YouTube at OffSource HQ. We'll see you next time.